Okay, in the previous video, we looked at just reading text from a file, reading individual lines. Often what we want to do is we don't just want to use lines, we want to use what's called a CSV, a comma separated value file. For instance, let's say we're doing top trump. So this is a scenario we've done before. And where we've got 14 could be the strength, 20 could be the int, the name of the, or maybe I should do the name of it first. Bob. So Bob's maybe the name of the thing, and then 14 could be its strength, 20 could be its int, and I don't know, and I don't know, 8 could be its speed. And now you could do that on multiple lines, but it's actually normally a bit more efficient to just put it all in one line and then separate it by a comma. I don't know how well you can see that. So essentially I take each of those and I just separate by a comma, and so I've got Bob, comma 14, comma 12, 20, comma 8. And you can imagine I could just do another card underneath, and I could do, I don't know, J with 12 and 10 and I don't know, 18. You can imagine I could have a whole series of cards done this way. If you wanted to have an icon of an image, you could have the file name as a bit of text at the end of it. Okay. And then if I go in here and we'll get that first one and we run it, we do it there and the line comes in. But what we want to do, right, is we want to break it into pieces so that Bob and 14 and 20 and 8 can be held separately. And actually there's something in Java to allow you to do that really quite easily. So what we can do is we can have a string, maybe I'll call it card, equals, and we can go data.get0, so that's going to get that first line, and there's a command called .split, open bracket, close bracket. Now we have to tell it, there's two things we need to do to fix this. First of all, we need to say, what is the delimiter? What is the character that we're using to separate it? And that is comma. Secondly, we're going to want to actually, what it will do is actually it'll split it into a different string every time. It will create an array of strings. So now when I run it, and we won't see anything right now, but what has happened is that it's taken in this line here, Bob 14, let's make it a bit bigger, Bob 14, 20, and 8. At this place it split it, but we've not told it to do anything. But why don't we do this, just to demonstrate? I could be like, I can look in card at position 0. In fact, let's do this for all of the lines. So there's, yeah, 1 and 2 and 3, just to sort of prove what's happened. What's happened is that I can take each of those individually. Okay, so what? So what can I do with this? Well, what you could do is you could imagine you had a two-dimensional array, or even you could actually instantiate new objects. So you could have a class with each of these properties, right? And then you could instantiate an object, and in its constructor, you could pass it the values like this. And you could do that in a loop. So you could actually initialize all the values of all these objects by reading from your text. And that way, you know, you could actually add new cards. And if you're thinking about the project, one of the things is that you're going to give this over to a client. Well, if they want to add their own cards, they'd have to go into your code and edit it. Well, if they're reading it from your text file, it is something that somebody could do. Somebody could easily go into a text file and just edit and put in a new line. Or if it's like a text adventure, they could put in their own descriptions. Or if it was like quiz questions, they could add in quiz questions this way, and you could import and create new things doing this. Okay, well, so why don't you give that a try, importing the values like this, and then trying to use that in a constructor to populate a new class. Give that a try.